Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our podcast series that yours truly, Jeff Roediger, hosts with financial professionals serving unique markets across the country. And as you've heard me say before, we're in a world now where you really need to work with a financial advocate. And this channel is dedicated to the nursing community nationwide. And my guest and partner in this, Dominick Caiati, Caiati Financial Services, joins us again. Dominick, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me on and inviting me. Appreciate it.
Well, this is a continuation of your client, the nursing client. On the previous episode, we talked about some of the potential mistakes this nurse, who happens to work as a federal employee in the VA system. Is that correct?
Yeah, she is in the VA system. She's like a managing nurse with the Department of Veterans Affairs. Yeah.
Okay, so we discussed a brief recap. She came to you around $1 million in her thrift savings plan account. So for those of you in the federal market, that's the TSP. For those of you that are at a state and local level or in the private sector, you may have a 401k, 403b, 457. So as we go through this, the same type of opportunities and potential risk could occur at all these levels. So she came to you with this million, and after working with her, the problem was that even with that amount of money, there was still a lot of risk. And so share with the audience the steps that you took with her and her husband to drop that risk and diversify a much more secure retirement income for them.
Yeah, sure, certainly. So as you had mentioned, Jeff, after our initial discovery meeting, we found out that one of their biggest concerns, if not their biggest concern, was having too much money in the risk bucket going into retirement. They just weren't willing to risk very much of anything. The second concern they had was they wanted streams of guaranteed income that they could add to their pension, their first pension, and to their other accounts as well. So we designed a program that de-risked their portfolio, their TSP, and it offered them guarantees and protection against any market downturn. So, if they were in this product and the market went down 20%, then they were exposed to zero of that 20%. So that made them really happy that they wouldn't be losing any money. And then the second part of the program provides them with a stream of guaranteed income that they can turn on whenever they want in the future that will last for the rest of their lives. And guess what? God forbid, if one of them passes away prematurely, that continues to the other one and vice versa.
So you took the money out of you withdrew the money in the form of a transfer from the TSP, and you put it into a private institution in an annuity.
That's exactly right. Yeah. The companies we deal with, the private institutions that we deal with are, AAA, AA rated household name brand companies that have literally billions of dollars in assets that have been in business for over 100 years. So they're very solid, safe, secure companies. And that's exactly what we did, Jeff. We transferred their funds out of their TSP into a private annuity that, and of course, there's no fees when you transfer from like to like. That's a question we get all the time, is how much am I going to be charged in fees by the IRS? And the answer is zero. So we transferred it into their private annuity. And I would say about a year and a half later, they flipped the annuity switch, the income switch, and now they're both realizing streams of guaranteed income for the rest of their life. And I mean, we had that last market downturn a couple months ago when COVID had just happened. The first call I got was from this lady, and I really appreciated that. And she just said, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate what you did for me, because we lost nothing and our friends lost a lot. So that made me feel real good.
Well, I think that communication and education is crucial. There's a lot of information flying around, and you know, you and I have had this conversation before. It's not the rate of return that you're getting, it's the net, and it's the guarantees behind your retirement that I think as people get closer to that target date of retirement, they start realizing that they have to put themselves in a position to be able to have somebody like you advising them, be open to comparative analysis. And it worked in her situation. Now, one of the, playing devil's advocate here is, okay, so sometimes you say, well, you already have Social Security, government. She had a pension at the federal level. It's a federal employee retirement system pension, FERS. You could have a SURS, which is the civil retirement, government. And now and those are paid income streams. The liquidity issue sometimes comes up, but how did you address that with this couple? Because now they have another annuity, and people say, well, now you have three forms of income. You have a liquidity issue. That's not the case, correct?
No, it's not. It's not the case at all, because, well, first let me back up a step before I talk about the liquidity issue. So another one of the concerns we had for them that they didn't even realize was exactly what you mentioned, Jeff. They were overweighted in government funds, and that left them kind of vulnerable because they're getting their Social Security, and that's funded by the government, of course. They're getting their federal employee retirement system annuity. I like to call it an annuity. Some people call it a pension. That's controlled by the government. So, I let them know that this would be a very good time to diversify and opt out of a government program and get into a private sector program.
Right.
And they were, very well informed at that point and very willing to do that because they thought they should diversify. And the liquidity that we were able to offer them was access not only their lifetime income benefit stream, but access to whatever amount they need in their annuity pretty much at any time without any penalty. I shouldn't say any amount. There's a minimum amount per year that they can withdraw out in the event of an emergency with no penalties. So they do have limited liquidity, yes, and they appreciated that as well.
Well, I think that's one of the misunderstandings about annuities. There are liquidity options, and you also have to look at the rest of their assets. You can't just take a product in of itself and say good or bad, because products are like the golf club. You help with the swing and the technique, and then you pull the club out of the bag and say, hey, this is how we're going to solve the problem in this situation. That was the solution. So what do you find in regards to her situation that other nurses need to understand? You and I talk a lot about they put a lot of time in, a lot of hours, and they don't spend enough time really understanding the details of their finances. Could you get into that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, it's a common problem amongst not only federal employee nurses, but state and local nurses, municipal nurses as well, is that they're so darn busy with their lives and with their careers, and they haven't talked to anyone in HR, some of them since the day they got hired, and that could have been years and years ago, that they're starved for information, as they rightfully should be. So we come in as a resource, first and foremost, as an educational resource to educate them, answer their questions, and give them back enough information to help them make their own really well-informed decisions. That's first and foremost. And then once we've educated them and answered their questions, our job is to provide them with opportunities to realize their their retirement goals with very little risk at all.
It's a year of risk. So reducing risk in the year 2020 and moving forward, I think is paramount to successful retirement. And moving forward, let's tee up the next episode. What are we going to be talking about so that the audience can look forward to the next upload?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes that nurses make prior to retirement and how to avoid those mistakes going into retirement. Really good, solid, information-packed session we're planning for next time, so you don't want to miss that for sure.
And give everybody your website again.
Yeah, so it's caiatifinancial.com. It's spelled C-A-I-A-T-I, caiatifinancial.com.
And Dominick, is part of his offering, if you go to the website, you can find Dominick's information. His firm is offering a no-cost initial consultation where they will look at your pension options, your TSP 403B, 401k options, as well as run an analysis for you, including those income streams and alternatives like Dominick just talked about, as well as Social Security. So no cost to do that initial consultation, and you should take advantage of that. You can also reach out to us and Dominick's firm at 888-545-8840. That's our 800 number. And go to one of the 2 landing pages we have set up for public employees. If you're in the public sector, if you're a federal employee, go to fedchecklist.com. If you have a question for Dominick, you can post it there. We'll get it to him. You can also book a meeting on our landing page for initial consultation with his team, as well as find great information. There's a retirement workbook there, as well as a budget, great information. You also find other podcast sessions that Dominick and I have done there. You can also put a question in. If something comes up about which pension option to take, what benefits, health insurance big right now, post that question right there. If you're a state or local employee, you can find us at publicpensionchecklist.com. Same deal, go in, great information. You might want to run a report on your pension system. There are 2 reports there. We have all the public pensions. Third-party economists have graded each pension system. So it's imperative that you understand the health of your pension. Publicpensionchecklist.com. And you can also book a meeting on that site if you're a state or local employee. So any closing comments, Dominick?
Not really. Just when they dial that toll-free number, if they want to leave a personal message for me, they can hit extension 5, I believe. Right, Jeff?
Extension 5. And
Okay.
go right in, leave a message. Even if you leave it on the general voicemail system, we'll get it to Dominick, but he's at extension 5. His team will be there to help you. Also, one other point before we close this session out, you can also email us at info@govresource.com. I want to make mention of that. info@govresource.com. So, okay, this wraps up our session today. Look for the next session within a week. We're going to get into the 5 mistakes and how to avoid them. Very important topic that we're going to be covering, and it's probably never been more important. So I want to thank everybody out there. Send this out to other nurses. This is a commitment that Dominick's made because of his relationship with his client that we talked about and others. And I think it's very important for you to have a network and an advocate financially, and we got one. So Dominick, thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate your time as well, and thanks for the invite. And again, do share the information with your fellow coworkers, because this is really good stuff that they need to know as well.
Yep, big decisions prior to retirement. You need to have an expert there to help walk hand in hand with you so you don't make mistakes others have made. Because once you do that, it's hard to climb back up that mountain. So, all
Most
right, this concludes our session. We'll be back soon. Look for the next episode. Thank you.